Welcome back, guys. Well, today I'm out on the river and we're going to do some ice fishing. Stay tuned. Well, it's a beautiful day out here on the river and we're going to do some ice fishing. See the area around me now? It's an area that's surrounded by homes, but we got some ice fishermen out here. So everybody's getting their shacks all set up. You can see down this way there's a bunch of shacks lined up. I'm just going to head down the Skidoo Trail here and pick a spot. So I usually fish this area in the spring, summer, and fall. I haven't explored this river in the winter, so it'll be pretty interesting. Things we're going to be looking for today when we're fishing: panfish, crappie, sunfish, also walleye. They're around this time of year, and pike. Of course, bass are not in season, so I won't be targeting them at all. Trout are open all year round in this fisheries management unit, but certainly they aren't found in this river. All right, so I've got my spot for the day here. I just kicked the snow off the top. And now I'm going to set up a hole. The ice is actually really good out here. As you just saw, a snowmobiler went by. So that gives me a little extra confidence out here. I want to show you my auger here. I got the idea from Nomadic Woodsman to get this brand. It's a really great brand. It's called the Swedebore auger. It's an 8-inch auger. And boy, these blades, they are sharp. So we'll just get drilling a hole right quick and we'll set up a line. As you can see, the ice is nice and thick. There we go. Woo. Right on. Right, the ice is nice and thick. Scoop out. Yeah, the ice is about 12 to 14 inches thick here, so we are very safe to be out on the ice. So I'll show you my little setup here. So I've got my little ice fishing rod, and I don't know if it's like 5 to 7 pound test on there, not really, not too heavy for today. I also have what we call the original Ice Rigger rod tender. It's pretty cool and allows me to kind of sit back and relax a bit while my line's in the water. So we'll take a quick peek at it. So here it is. It's the original Ice Trigger rod tender, and it's honestly super easy. You could probably make it yourself. How it works is you secure your rod here in this little part here. You can easily take it out, for example, and tuck it back in. This is not only used for ice fishing, you can also use it for shore fishing in the spring and summer months. So my fishing line's hooked into this little alligator clip here and these little rubber grips. And when a fish is on the line, it's obviously going to pull my line. And boing, up goes the flag right here. So that tells me there's a fish on the line. So that's a slick little gadget to have when you're out ice fishing. Of course, you can always just do this. So it's a brisk day out here today. It's about -10, but there is a bit of a wind, maybe a 15-kilometer-an-hour wind right now. So it's a little chilly, but nothing beats getting out on the ice and enjoying a day outside. So I guess I should talk a little bit about ice fishing in Ontario. So that's where I live, and ice fishing is totally different, obviously. You got to think about a lot of different things, including, ice safety and things like that, which we'll go over in a minute. But in terms of the fishing, I am licensed to fish in Ontario. I have a sport fishing license. So that sets up, there's some rules and regulations set up for fishing in our province. Our province is divided up into many different fishing management units. And, for this one and for a lot of the province of Ontario, what I'm allowed to do is I can drill up to 2 holes in the ice. And I have to be within 60 meters or, 200 feet of the holes at all times. You kind of can't, walk off to your house or whatever and not pay attention to what's going on. I'm just out here sitting out on the river. Some folks, as you see up the way, they have ice shacks. You just have to register your shack, obviously. And basically they can stay out on the ice here until about March 15th, where by law they have to be removed from the ice. it's unlawful to kind of keep them on the ice. Even if ice conditions are good, you know, mid-March, they have to be off. You know, we don't want any sinkers that can cause a hazard for, you know, boating season and stuff like that. Also, we can't use any kind of you know, spring-loaded device to set the hook. It has to be set, you know, by hand, or just basically, you know, the rod action, obviously, setting the hook. Yeah, that's pretty much it that I can think of. Obviously, I have to follow regulations for what's in season, and I cannot target fish that are out of season. So I can't, right now, obviously, I can't target, you know, bass and things like that. The season's closed. So right now we're looking at pike and panfish like crappie, sunfish, and also walleye. The wind's really kicking up. So basically today I've just drilled one hole and I've got one rod set up. We'll see if we get anything. I have no idea. I don't really fish this part of the river at this time of year, so I'm kind of fishing a little bit blind. I don't use any fancy equipment. I don't have like a flasher or anything like that. Just kind of go in the middle of the river and start jigging. So well, it's a slow day out here, but it's great. We'll get a chance to talk about a few things. So let's talk a little bit about ice safety, because that's super important this time of year. And basically, you know, I'm on ice that's a little bit, you know, you gotta be really careful. This ice is the gray-white ice. It is really, it doesn't have the strength that a clear blue ice would have. Normally with clear blue ice, walking out about, you know, 4 inches would be fine. I want to double that when I'm looking at this this sort of grayish, whitish ice. That ice has a lot of water in it. So, I mean, here we're looking at 12 to 14 inches of ice, so I feel extremely comfortable walking around on here. And but I always take safety precautions. So let's talk a little bit about that. So as you head out in the ice, you should become familiar with the area that you're going to be fishing. You can check with the local you know, bait shop to see what the ice depths are. Also, as you're kind of coming offshore, you know, take a look at the area, the quality of the ice, the color of the ice, and refresh your memory on how to, you know, how to test the ice. So basically you can use like a hatchet or an ice chisel, or even a drill, like a wood bore drill bit on a drill to test the depth of the ice. And you want to check it fairly frequently as you're kind of heading out, you know, towards the middle of, you know, a river or a lake that you're going to be fishing. Rivers, the ice quality tends to be not as great as a lake. There are currents, you know, in some rivers like this one, so I got to be really careful. The ice can be sort of thin in particular areas, or if there's a kind of a natural spring in a lake or something, you know, the water, you know, be coming up underneath the ice and thinning the ice. Also, if there's a lot of beaver activity on like a pond or part of a lake that you're going to be at, be really careful. Where they move under the ice is thin. So you can suddenly go through, and that can mean life or death. It doesn't take long, you know, 10 minutes in ice cold water and your muscles stop working properly and you'll get hypothermia at this time of year. So really important to refresh yourself on ice self-rescue. You know, if you go through the ice, you know, it's a huge shock to the system. Basically, you know, the first 1 or 2 minutes, like you feel like someone's choking you, like you cannot get air because your system's going through cold water shock. I've done some polar bear dip type stuff, and let me tell you, you just feel like someone has crushed all the air out of you. You feel like you're having some kind of an asthma attack when you hit the water. It's really, really cold. So you need that 1 to 2 minutes to kind of get your breath and stay calm. You don't want to panic, because then that can really affect, you know, your survivability. You don't want to shed clothing. Clothing actually can trap air against your body and keep you warm and insulated while you're rescuing yourself. So basically, once you've had that 1 to 2 minutes of cold water shock, then you're going to want to point in the direction that you came in on the ice, because that's the area where the ice is going to be the safest and the strongest, because that you obviously walked up to that point without falling in. And then you're going to want to use your front arms and, you know, hoist yourself up onto the ice. Pause for a second while the water drains out of your clothes, and then if you have ice picks, which we'll talk about in a second. You can kind of dig them into the ice and stay low and crawl up onto the ice, while your back legs are going to be kind of fluttering under the ice to kind of get your body to go from vertical to horizontal as you crawl off the ice. So doing like a flutter kick as you're kind of crawling up on the ice, using your hands, or if you have these handy dandy little ice picks, which I'll show you my homebrew ones in a minute. You can also buy them at Cabela's or other outdoor stores and fishing shops and stuff like that. So familiarize yourself with that. So basically you're going to get up on the ice, crawling up on the ice, staying low, and then you're going to roll in the direction of shore from which you came. And that's how you get yourself out of the water. Obviously important to tell people that you're going to go ice fishing, where you're going to be, and when you're expected back, so that if you don't return or there's a problem, people will know where to look for you. So I want to show you guys a self-rescue device that I made for myself. These are homebrew ice picks. So let's take a closer look at them. So as you can see, I can just pop them out like that. These are homebrew. Basically what I did is I got a little keychain holder, so you can see the little plastic spring there, and I got this little set of 2 of screwdrivers. So you can see, there we go, there's a screwdriver. And basically if I was to fall through the ice, I could pop these out of my jacket here, and I can kind of claw my way up on the ice. So super easy. I'm sure it was like under 10 bucks to make these. What I did is I drilled a hole in the screwdriver that you can see there. I put the plastic cabling through it, and as you can see, I just sort of burnt it and stuck it to the side of the... Somebody's out doing their flying lessons. So yeah, I've got these little ice picks right here, so if I was to fall in the water, I've got one for each side. And you can see they just sort of tuck in my my jacket kind of like that, and they're easy to pop out. So they're super easy to pop out. You go in the water, you go boom, boom, and then you can crawl up out of the ice hole. So yeah, so there they are, and there's obviously 2 different types of screw heads on there. So if you need to fix something on your fishing rod, well, you've got a couple of screwdrivers, so there you go. These tie nicely around the wrist here, but I could take them off like that, and this also fits around my wrist, so I can kind of go like that. So if I didn't have that coat, for example, I'd have them on my wrist. Really important to have that, because ice can get really, really slippery if you fall in, and having that little extra, device to kind of just dig into the ice and pull yourself up can be a lifesaver. Honestly, guys, it's under 10 bucks. You can make it yourself. A really good tip for ice safety. Yeah, ice has been extremely sketchy this year. We've had about 3 full melts, and thank goodness it's nice and cold again. And because there's a lot of ice fishing derbies and stuff coming up, right? So it's nice that we've actually got some ice to get out on to take part in those activities. If you're interested more in ice safety, I'll put a few links down below to things that may interest you, so you can learn a bit more about it. So gear-wise for clothing, I've got my long johns, my Fall Ravens t-shirt, my hoodie, and my Storm Tech jacket. And of course, I've got some gloves that have a waterproof rubber coating on them as well. Thank goodness I wore what I wore, because that wind, never underestimate it. It is a little chilly, so to have that windbreaker on, especially when you're out in the open and you don't have like a little, ice shack, to crawl into and stay nice and warm, it really makes a difference. I thought I was completely overdressed, but once you're out in the open, you'll appreciate that. So make sure to wear layers. And in my pack, I also have a second pair of clothes, so if I was to go through the ice, I have a quick change of clothes at my disposal right away. I've also got some nice hot tea, so I'm going to have that now with a snack. Oh, thank God I brought some tea. It's going to be good. Well, that hits the spot. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit of snow. I don't know, a couple times this week we've had about 10 centimeters, and now we're probably going to get in another 10 or 15 over the weekend, so that'll be nice. You know, it's still quite cold at night now. It's going down to minus 15, minus 17, but we're starting to get some warmer days, and I am feeling the warmth from the sunshine. The sun's out a little bit today, so that's nice. We're just peeked out behind the clouds. Well, looks like we're skunked today, guys. Not a bite. Well, that's disappointing. Oh well, no worries. There's still a bit of an ice fishing season left, and I'll be out there trying to get a fish. Actually, looking forward to heading out on some big water. I'm hoping in the next week or two, right on a big lake, so where I know exactly where the fish are, and they're gonna bite my line. You wait and see. So if you're interested in ice fishing, and in particular something that I wasn't too familiar with, commercial ice fishing, I recommend a couple of really awesome channels. One channel is Bushway, and the other channel is The Northern Life. They're all around awesome outdoors channels, and also they feature some commercial ice fishing. So go check them out and let them know TheWildYam sent you. Alright guys, thanks so much for coming along on the journey today, and a little bit of a chat about ice fishing and ice safety. Alright, have a great week as always. Take care.